everyone. This is Charles Folkard. It's I always want to say July or June, man. It's January. I don't know what's going on, but maybe it's the chemtrails up there. It's January 24th, 2017. I'm at JPL website on the Voyager, and I found some interesting things out, and I thought I'd like to share what I found with you. I like to learn something new all the time. I'm always trying to learn something new. Before we go there, I've got a ham radio that I bought here not too long ago. It's not a very big one, only 8 watts of power. But I've been learning about the radio waves, electronic, electromagnetic, and frequencies, and especially this page right here. I know you can't see that, but I have it online here in a minute. So I got my ham radio operator's license. I'm Kilo India 7 India Juliet Sierra. I got to learn that. I haven't used it too much yet at all, but I recommend you get one of these. When the poo-poo hits the blades, you'll be able to at least hear what's going on, and it's kind of fun and interesting to learn about the radio waves and radio frequencies and other stuff like that. And that's what got me interested in looking at the probes. NASA's telling us that they've got these satellite probes out millions and millions and millions of miles away, and even beyond that, and we're getting radio waves back. And I'm going to show you here that that is a bunch of male cow dung. That's a bunch of male cow dung. And I might take more than one video to get through everything, so this is going to be kind of like a radio frequency 101 or an intro class. But let's go have a look at this other site for a moment. But before we do that, I got one more thing I want to show you. You know, I've been reading the Bible most of my life. I started out when I was about 22 or 23 years old, and it's been quite a while since I picked up my first King James Bible. But the Bible is so true. There's so much wisdom in the Bible and insight in Scripture that it's just unbelievable, and I learn something new every day. But this verse is always stuck in my mind, and it's kept me from committing sin, because it's Numbers 32:23, and you can go there and read the whole thing in context, and it's pretty interesting. But I want to draw your attention to the very last part of this sentence here. And be sure, I wish, you know, why do these sites have to have something pop up all the time? If I can use right click or left click, you don't need to have all the bells and the whistles all the time, people. I don't want anything popping up. It's so, ugh. But anyway, I want to highlight it, but I don't want the popping up. There it is, popping up. Anyways, sorry, you get my age, you get these little things start to get irritating, you know, and you just wish it wouldn't happen, but it does. Okay. And be sure that your sin will find you out. And I think the guys at JPL and the guys at NASA, never a straight answer, their sin is beginning to find them out, because they've committed one sin after the other. And the problem with telling a lie is that when you tell one lie, you got to tell another one sometimes to cover up the first one. And the second one you tell is bigger than the one you told first. And they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So now they've got so many lies out there that they cannot cover all their lies anymore. And I've said in previous videos that every bit of evidence that we get to prove that NASA is lying to us is going to come from them. I've mentioned this before. When you get stopped by the police, you do not say a word. You have the right to remain silent. No talking. You got that? If you get anything out of what you're watching today, when you get stopped, you had too much to drink, you stay in your vehicle, you don't say anything, you roll your window down that far, you slip out your driver's license, proof of insurance, and what's the other thing, registration, and you don't say anything. Because every bit of evidence that they get to use against you, you will provide them. So let's go look at this website from NASA. So I'm here at NASA on this website, space probes, and right here at the top, disclaimer: this material is being kept online for historical purposes. Though accurate at the time of publication, it is no longer being updated. The page may contain broken links or outdated information, and parts may not function in current web browsers. Visit nasa.gov for current information. Well, that's where I am now. That's where I am. But this particular web page they're telling us is out of date. But I got to tell you why. And you scroll down here, and like I say, this is going to be the first of a couple videos, so I'm going to just lay some groundwork here. Look at this. Well, let me back up. Once probes could reach space, the two countries being the Soviet Union and the United States. Now, the Soviet Union was only propped up to give the United States an excuse to have someone to compete with. That gave us an excuse to get into the space race. See up here? Right here? This was the beginning of the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union. I said on a previous video, when I went to investigate Sputnik in the local library at Humboldt State, where I went to college, what I saw, you know, back in the days when you went to the library and you looked in the index and you found the number, you wrote the number down, you went up in the second, third floor, and you went looking for the book down the road. Well, we don't have to do that anymore. We can come right here, okay? And this is why NASA is getting their butt kicked, because we can check them. And a lot of people aren't doing that, but I do. And it's fun to find these people out. But anyway, when I got up to the library book in the library at Humboldt State looking up Sputnik, it had a picture of a cosmonaut on one knee on the ground and a rocket ship behind him on the ground, laying on the ground. And this is when I was listening to Dr. Stuart Crane, and he was teaching me how to use my mind and how to think outside the lines and actually critically think about things. So right then and there I knew there was a problem, because why would a rocket be laying on the ground? It just didn't make any sense. But he was telling me that the only reason the only reason the Soviet Union was existing is because they were being propped up to give us an excuse to have a space program. And this was after we allegedly went to the moon. And Dr. Crane was revealing information to me that made me realize we never went to the moon. So as far back as 1972, 73, 74, somewhere in there, I knew that the moon landing was fake. And I didn't pay a lot of attention. You got other things going on. I'm married, I got kids and a family. There's no reason to go any further. But NASA kept coming out with all this propaganda and lies and these images, and people didn't do the research like I had done, so they believed it, whereas I hadn't believed it. But once probes, it says here, once probes could reach space, the two countries started sending probes to fly past the moon and other planets. Mariner 2 was the first probe to study another planet. In 1962, mind you, Mariner 2 flew past the planet Venus. It confirmed that Venus is very hot. Now, how they confirmed that, they don't say. All right? But what did it do? Take a picture? How did it confirm? Did it have probes on the outside of the satellite? And the important thing is, did it send that information back all the way from Venus, all the way back to the Earth? We're here at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in 1962? I don't think so. All right. A different probe called Mariner 4 was the first probe to snap a picture of a planet. On July 14, 1965, Mariner 4 flew past Mars. Now, Mars, I've looked it up. Mars is, get this, I'm going to ask you, how far away is Mars from the Earth? I want you to think about that for a minute. How far away is Mars from the Earth? And its images, now they're telling us, they're taking images of Mars from Mariner 4 in 1965. And the images showed a cold, cratered moon-like surface. Now, I've given you enough time to think about how far away Mars is from Earth. And the answer is 250 million miles. 250 million miles. Now, I've learned a couple things about radio waves and radio frequencies. And I'm going to get into that later. Like I said, this is just kind of an opening video to get you some background here. But that is one heck of a long way, folks, to send. That is one heck of a long way to send a radio frequency or a electromagnetic wave that's carrying an image. Like it says here, it took a picture of Mars that showed the largest volcano in the solar system. Now, wait a minute. How do they know it's the largest volcano in the solar system? Have they taken pictures at this time of all the other planets, which I don't even think exist? They're wandering stars. They're wandering stars and not planets. The Bible doesn't say anything about God creating planets, the sun and the moon and the stars. He says, and he created the stars also as an afterthought. Our God is so awesome and so big. He created the stars also. That's always gotten me for the longest time. Anyway, let's move on. I got 14-minute long video already, and I haven't even got going here. Okay, many probes study Earth or measure properties of space. Other probes use telescopes or other instruments to study planets, stars, and galaxies that are far away. Probes that travel to other planets have changed from simple machines that could study a few features of a planet to sophisticated probes that travel great distances to study a wide range of features on planets, moons, asteroids, and comets. We tend to call these more sophisticated probes spacecraft, orbiters, landers, and rovers. One of the most famous probes is Voyager 1. That was where we just were on that earlier page. here. Okay, and it has traveled further in space than any human-made object. It launched into space in 1977. Voyager 1 flew past Jupiter and Saturn and then headed for the age of our solar system. As of February 1, 2010, that's almost 7 years ago now, the spacecraft was 10.4 billion miles from Earth. Now, we're going to check on them in the future videos to see if they're going to tell us that they're still getting radio frequency waves and images from Voyager 1, which 7 years ago was 10.4 billion miles from Earth. I don't want to make this video too long, so let's check a couple things here. For more information about JPL probes and missions, go to this link here. So I'm going to click on this link, and you'll see your page not found. So let's go back. Okay, now for a timeline of robotic exploration, let's go here. Page not found. So there's 2 pages that aren't, and I think it's because the information there, they don't want us to read it anymore because it exposes their lie. So let's click on this one. This is all live here. I'm not, page not found. Sputnik 1, page not found. Voyager mission is where I just was. We'll go back to that later. And there's Mariner 9, page not found. Okay. So I'm going to pause this for a minute. I'm going to think about what I'm going to say next here. Okay, I'm back here at Jet Propulsion Laboratory where I was earlier. This is the Voyager interstellar mission. I'm going to scroll down here to where I was here earlier. And this is when I began to get the idea to make this video. See, it says here, the twin Voyager 1 and 2 spacecraft are exploring where nothing from Earth has flown before. This is just what they say. There's a 37-year journey since their 1977 launches. They are each much further away from the Earth and the Sun than Pluto. In August 2012, Voyager 1 made the historic entry into interstellar space. And I'm not going to read all this to you, but I want to bring you down here, the Deep Space Network. And let's go have a look at that. You can come back here anytime you want. I'm hoping I can get you interested in doing some investigation into what we're being told about space, because it's all a bunch of lies. And once you start to look into it, it gets easier and easier to spot the lies. But let's go have a look at this Deep Space Network, or DNS. Okay, we're over here at the Deep Space Network, and I'm going to have to move me out of the way. So I've been here already, and I'm not going to read all this to you. It'll be a very, very long video if I do that, and you'll probably get bored and turn it off. But I was here, and this is what I read here. Several times a week, this satellite that's supposed to be way, way, way out there, 10 billion miles away as of 2010. So who knows how far away it is now. But they're telling us several times per week that Deep Space Network antennas capture signals from the two Voyager spacecraft which are exploring the edge of interstellar space. Their signal has a received power, now get this, 20 billion times weaker than that of a digital, I don't have my watch here, but the signal is 20 billion times weaker than that of a digital wristwatch. And they want us to believe that they can pick up this signal from billions and billions and billions of miles away, 10 billions as of 7 years ago. And you and I have trouble picking up the phone, and we got a weak signal right on my phone. You probably can't see it. It's got one little bar right now. 2 bars if I'm lucky at this location. And this is an 8-watt ham radio, and it won't go more than a couple, 3 miles. And they have repeaters that you can put the frequency in, and then you can connect to the repeater. There's one up here on Blacktail Mountain, which is behind me, and there's another one up at the Whitefish Mountain. And they have to have repeaters to repeat the signal so that you can communicate. And they're trying to tell us that this little antenna, which has been in space since 1977, is still working. It's still working. All the batteries work, the receiver works, the transceiver works. Well, I don't know if the receiver works, but the transmission mechanism, it built in 1977, is working still, and the signal that they get is 20 billion times less or weaker than that of a wristwatch. And then people wonder why we don't trust anything that we're told from Never a Straight Answer. Folks, they're lying. They're lying. They're lying. But if you will not do so, behold, you have sinned against the Lord, and be sure your sin will find you out. Anyway, this has been Charles Folkart, January 24th, 2017, and the Voyager is traveling into interstellar space and sending back signals 20 billion times weaker than your wristwatch. All the more important for you to embrace the love of the truth, and may the grace of God, our Creator, be with us all, for we certainly do need it. See ya.
It's crucial to remember that people pay more attention to your demeanor than they do your evidence.
That's right.
It's crucial to remember that people pay more attention to your demeanor than they do your evidence.
That's right.